I have a question. How do you get to the point where, I guess, do you ever have to have like a holier than thou attitude in order to deal with these people? Or do you think that your own level of, I don't know, chaos or insanity in your own life has helped you with this therapy?
Amen. Jesus be with us, and leave your money on the way out. The more you contribute, the farther you go in heaven. Wasn't that Haggard says that? Doesn't matter if you don't have money, Grandma and Grandpa. Use your credit card. Then you'll go further in heaven. I think that I think humility is not a bad thing. Okay, and I think being humble. I mean, I think sometimes some of us are lucky to be gifted to have something that we can do. And I take that as a gift. I mean, one thing that I find myself doing is I'm in Beverly Hills, okay? And I'm really humbled by the fact that I'm dealing with people who impact other people. And I said that yesterday, nothing against the Sparklets water truck driver or the Starbucks guy, but I'm dealing with, I've had so many musicians and actors, I told you about the one yesterday, that's on the road now doing a play. And he said, I really put new emphasis in that soliloquy every day about fairness and treating people appropriately. And I feel really good about that. So it humbles me rather than holier than thou. I look at it as a gift and something that's really special. I also don't look, anybody ever been a child?
Once or twice.
Okay, I'm going through my childhood now. I've been an adult since I was 5. It's never too late for a happy childhood.
Also.
Yes, and won't get into my other parts of that. But I'm having a good time now because I wasn't able to as a kid. But if you were a little kid, or if you've raised little kids, some of you have had children, okay, when Junior sits there and says, oh, look, Mom, I can send this in and get this wonderful toy that's going to be perfect or whatever for only $1 or something, there's a certain part of you that wants to say, you stupid little idiot. Well, maybe you wouldn't want to say that. I would. But that part of you, why didn't you come with a warranty so I can send you back? As a parent, part of you has to sit there and say, all right, honey, let's look at this. The method of allowing them to learn. And I think part of it too, a lot of my clients come in and there's a naivete. I don't have any problem with that. They haven't done this before. How many of you had to be there and tell somebody, like I told you yesterday, that you're dying, okay? Or that you have minutes left, or you go tell the rest of the family, it's over, they're gone. You start to learn about the value of life and what's going on a little bit more, and I think you appreciate things a little more. So it makes you not jaded, but it makes you more sensitive to people. So I don't have a problem when somebody comes along and says, anybody been in Needles, California? Anybody not been there when they broke down? When I worked at the hospital there, and I went twice a month to work in the stroke unit, okay? And I go over there, and I had these people saying, isn't this God's country? I don't think so, unless God had a big sense of humor. And, the people there kind of reflect the flora and fauna of the neighborhood, a little prickly, dried out, and not too pretty. But it was fine if the people liked it there. See, I have nothing against that. I've learned that there's different things for everybody. I remember when I moved to Yuma, Arizona, this lady, Lila, and her husband, Malcolm, he was a judge. He had one of those heads that, he was only like in his 40s, but he had a black thing of hair here, and then the cantaloupe. It's a visual. And I remember we were talking about things one day, and Lila was one of these, if we all liked the same thing, everybody would want to marry my Malcolm. And I thought, I don't think so, dear. But, there's different things for everybody, okay? So, not holier than thou. I try to help them discover what's going on. I don't like it if a therapist comes in and says, this is what you're going to do. One of the best things is when the client comes in and says, wow, you know what I just figured out? So sometimes when you're, with the clients, I feel it's a gift that we're given and we have a chance to try to help influence them. I can't teach anybody anything. I can only bring you information. I love the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is my cathedral, okay? when I did my tour bus businesses, if I told you about that, right? You saw my bus on the screen yesterday. We'd be driving to Grand Canyon. How many of you have been to Grand Canyon? How many spent more than 3 hours at the Grand Canyon? How many have hiked across the Grand Canyon? Okay, at least got rid of you there. Okay. But at least you've been over 3 hours. 90% of the people that go to the Grand Canyon spend less than 3 hours. So I would take my tours, and I've hiked across it, I've stayed in the canyon, I've stayed in a wilderness area, I've been on the north rim, south rim, whatever. Be driving up, so you know when you're driving up from Williams, it's flat, right? I love the north side, by the way. If you've never been there, go to the north side. But you're driving up from Williams, and there's trees around and no mountains, because you're at 8,000 feet or whatever. And I'm having people tapping me on the shoulder because I'm driving 47 people. Where's this place? There's no mountains. This is ugly. Like, shut up, sit down. Now you get to the Grand Canyon, and you pull in, and there's this big empty hole. And about a third of them got it. And they look and, wow, that's beautiful. A third were like, it's pretty impressive. And a third were like, when do we get to Vegas? Right? Now, to me, getting it means I sit at the Grand Canyon, and it makes me realize how insignificant I am. Because you sit there and you watch the squirrels running around, and you're sitting up on the rim, and you see the birds flying below you, taking the seeds around, doing all these things, and you think, you know what, if I croak tomorrow, the Grand Canyon's still going to be here, okay? And probably 1,000 years from now, somebody's going to look and say, wow, Grand Canyon. So it makes you feel insignificant for a minute. But then I also think it makes you realize how important you can be. Because you realize that without the drops of water, without the little chipmunk running the little things around, the seeds around, without the bird flying from place to place, it wouldn't happen either. You know, but not everyone gets it. It's the same thing with anything. You know, there's some people going to get it, whatever it is, music, opera. You know, ooh, if you tell me you're taking me out, hey, you're going to have the nicest dinner in the world, we're going to karaoke, a sushi bar, and then to the opera. You know, I'd rather have a root canal. Okay? But now I happen to like classical music. I like Baroque, I like Vivaldi, whatever. I played the bassoon. That's how I got into college. I couldn't play it for crap, but I played the bassoon because nobody else wanted to play it. Okay. But you know, yeah, I think that, you know, part of it is humbling to realize when you make some changes, and I think that you have to realize that you can influence them, you can't change them.